going on, guys? Welcome back to Trapfish Aquatics. Today I want to talk to you guys about the dollar per gallon sale and why it is such a good thing. A lot of people aren't huge fans of the dollar per gallon sale. I personally am, because I know how to work the system so that you can get a good aquarium at a low cost of good quality. So basically what I mean is the dollar per gallon sale, when the stores have that, generally what they're trying to do is it's a money marketing scheme where they'll sell you the tank cheap, right? So a 20-gallon tank like these back here would be $20 a piece for just the tank, but that doesn't include the substrate, the filter, an air pump and an air stone, a heater, a lid, or a light. It doesn't include any of that. It's just the glass box. And basically what their thought is if they sell you that tank relatively cheap, you will buy the rest of the stuff there because it seems like it's cheaper than buying a starter kit. And generally speaking, it is not, because you are going to buy upgraded items. A lot of the lighting that they have there is highly priced for what they are, and you're going to end up spending more money. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and buy a starter kit by any means, because for $70 for a 20-gallon high starter kit, you get a 20-gallon filter, which a 20-gallon filter on a 20-gallon tank isn't really good per se. You'd probably want something closer to a 40 or 50-gallon filter. They don't come with heaters. They come with a cheap plastic hood and a very small light, usually they're LED, that don't give off enough light for a planted aquarium. So you're not really getting your money's worth out of that, because you're going to end up replacing all of those components anyway. So that's why I like the dollar per gallon sale. Now, if you go to the store and buy the tank the way they want you to, you're going to end up spending a lot of money, which is why I don't do that. So what I'm going to show you guys now is my 20-gallon tank up here that I purchased, and then I went to a couple different stores and bought some supplies to set up an aquarium. And the cost of this planted aquarium up here is about $70, which is the same as a starter kit, but it is a much, much higher quality, capable of growing plants, supporting an ecosystem, and in my opinion, a way better option than spending $70 on a starter kit. So let me go over here and I'll show you guys this tank, and I'll talk about it a little bit. Alright guys, so this here is my 20-gallon tank. It's a very simple setup, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what I bought and where I bought it and about how much it cost, so you guys can get an idea of how to set one of these up for yourself for not a lot of money. It's $70, but it is way better than what you would buy a starter kit for. So we're going to start off with a tank. Dollar per gallon sale, PetSmart, Pet Supplies Plus, Petco, 20 bucks. Alright? So you're 20 bucks into it, you got yourself a tank. Now what? Now you got to look for filtration. I chose to combine my filtration and my air supply into one. It saves money, dual purpose. So got myself a sponge filter here. It is a dual sponge filter. There are two sponges on there, and it has a an extendable arm that comes up, so you get greater lift out of it and you get better flow. These cost about $5 at your local fish store. A lot of chain stores don't sell them because they don't make a lot of money off of those. So I chose this. It's about $5. The airline and the air pump I got at Walmart. The airline was about $2 and the air pump was about $6. As you can see, it's got a good amount of flow coming out of there. All the plants over on this side are moving enough that they're getting enough fertilizer, and everything's growing well. So this filter works great for this tank. You can see how clear the water is. It looks a little cloudy here, but I can guarantee you it's not. It's just the glare that we're getting from the lights. Next thing, you've got your filter. You want a heater. So this heater back here is a little bit overkill for this tank size. It is a 250 watt heater. I prefer something for a 20 gallon closer to a 100 watt heater, which I actually have down here. In this tank, it's a 20 gallon. And this is just a Tetra 100 watt. I think they're $10. It's non-adjustable, but for the tanks that I have running guppies, it's 78 to 80 degrees. That's perfect for what I want, so that's what I choose to use. This tank up here, I'm also running at 80 degrees, so $10 for a heater. Okay, what's next? So you got your filtration, your tank, and your heater. The next thing you're going to want is you're going to want a light. Now, the light I have in this tank is a Hypertech 5000K LED under cabinet light. So these, you go to Walmart, you go back to the lighting section and you look for cabinet lights. This particular light is very, very bright. You can see the holes in the top for mounting it underneath a cabinet like this. And I just set it up here on top of the tank, like so. And to block out the light bleed on the top, because you have a heck of a lot of it, I just have these old lids off of a 55 gallon tank like you see here, and I just set it in front of it just to block the light bleed, and it makes it look a little bit better. So those lights are $9 at Walmart. You get very good lighting. They are capable of growing plants. All these plants are flourishing and doing well. So that's another $10. Now, you got your light, your tank. You need something to rest your light on. So this lid here, if I get the camera up here, you can see it's clear. There's a little bit of condensation on it. This is a piece of polycarbonate, which is a plastic, and you can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's, and it's not that expensive. I believe this sheet was 12 inches by 30 inches. So 12 inches front to back, 30 inches long. So I just had to cut it down a little bit front to back. I believe this is 11 3/4 and 23 1/4 lengthwise. I just trimmed the 6 inches off of this end here. And it fit this tank perfectly. I drilled a hole here so I can feed and keep my heater in there. Or not my heater, my thermometer. And in the back corner here under the light, I cut a little notch in there so that the wire for the heater and the air line can go in. The tank is fully sealed on the top, which keeps all of the heat in, so my heater doesn't run that much, which saves me money. Okay, so now you've got the whole tank set up. Next thing you want to start thinking about, substrate. Now, this substrate, if we get real close here and look at it, it's a black substrate with little brown and red flecks in it. This is black diamond blasting sand. You can get this at Tractor Supply for $50, not $50, 50 pounds for $8. So at $8 for 50 pounds, I was able to do this 20 gallon tank, that 55 gallon tank, and these 3 5.5 gallon tanks for $8. So for this tank, total cost of substrate would probably be about $2. It's inert. It doesn't change water quality at all. You do have to use fertilizers, but I use fertilizers on all my tanks, so I negate that cost because I use it in all my tanks for all my plants. I would rather have a substrate that's not going to fluctuate my water parameters, and I will just treat the plants accordingly. So after your substrate, you're going to want to look at hardscapes, being rocks or driftwood. I don't have any driftwood in this tank, but I do have driftwood in this tank down here. So I just went outside and got rocks from my yard. So I brought these rocks in, I gave them a hot water bath. Do not boil them, they could explode. I just heated up water very, very hot to the point where it was steaming, and then rested these rocks in there. I did not boil them. That sterilizes them, and then I cooled them down and put them in the tank. And then the plants I have here, you could go out and buy these. I believe the bunches of Anacharis at pet stores are like $5 for 5 or 6 stems. But all of this Anacharis I grew in my 55 gallon tank over there. You can see all of it. There's quite a bit in there. And I'm also growing it down here in this tank. There's also quite a bit of it in there. So the trimmings that I trim out, I put in here. They're growing well. I also have an Anubias, an Amazon sword, and some jungle val in the back that did melt a little bit when I put it in here because it had to adjust to the water conditions, as it was a little bit different than the other tank that I got it from. But it is starting to come back. It has stopped melting off, so I assume that will take off here in a week or two. But all in all, the total cost of this setup right here was about 70 bucks, which compared to a starter kit, which I'm sure you can go to a store and see or look at online, this is 100 times better than buying a starter kit for the exact same amount of money. So that's pretty much it for this tank. Alright guys, so that was my tank, my 20-gallon high. And I did buy these tanks at a $1 per gallon sale probably about 3 to 4 months ago. I did a video on building the stand. You can save a lot of money on building your own stand rather than purchasing one. This double stack stand here was probably $30 or 35 bucks to build for 2 tanks, as opposed to buying one for 100. And you can set up your aquariums very cheaply, very effectively, and still have them be able to support a viable ecosystem. So that's pretty much all for this video, guys. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Let me know ways that you set up tanks relatively cheaply and are still able to have enough money to do other things and buy fish. And leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you like it, and I will see you guys in the next video.